Hello, everyone. A very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Priyanka, your host for the session, and we welcome you all on today's masterclass, which is on design thinking and backend architecture powered by Elewayte. It's my utmost honor to introduce you all with our today's expert speaker, who is none other than Mr. Robin Sinha, a senior software development specialist from Deloitte. Mr. Sinha, who comes with many years of experience in different segments of software development, is also a Mule certified integration architect and trainer. Along with this, he is a 3x AWS and Google Cloud Platform practitioner. Not only this, Mr. Sinha is also well versed with the concept of Python and machine learning. So, without sparing any extra minute, let's deep dive into today's masterclass. Mr. Sinha, the session is all yours.
Hey, thank you so much for the nice introduction. So, hey everyone, I'm Robin Sinha. I'm currently working as a senior software specialist in Deloitte. Right now, I'm working on the integration domain, which is also comprises of backend plus the integrating market to basically integrate two technologies such as Oracle or something like Oracle versus the front end. So today we'll be discussing on design and backend architecture. So with this, I'll be compromising and I'll be contributing also with the machine learning part. So I have also have hands-on experience on machine learning projects, basically AI vision, computer vision, object detection, OCR, even handwriting detection. And even I had experience on basically mobile applications using machine learning using ML so let's have a deep dive and let's discuss how I build those applications, how in a real life market or real life scenarios, how the companies built any application or any product using design thinking and how they design the backend architecture. We'll be also discussing the key aspects of how the solutions are built. So in my past projects as an integration architect, I have worked on companies like I have built projects for companies like Lennox, a leading brand similar to Whirlpool in India. Lennox International is based on US. Wellpath, a similar brand as Practo, who does appointments in US. Meerworks, a leading German shipment company who works in the shipment industry. And right now I'm working with a big retail chain where we work on the inventory sync, item sync, the product master sync, even the price sync, plus the financial audits. So all these things are handled by backend. So a single click by you in the front end handles like it looks a single click for you, but in the backend it's a major architecture. So let's go deep dive without wasting any time. So again, the introduction part, I'm certified integration architect. I'm also a MuleSoft mentor. There are only 750 mentors in the world as of now. I'm also certified AWS cloud practitioner and also certified GCP associate cloud engineer under multi-cloud initiative. I right now working as a specialist two. I think here it is specialist one written, but specialist two at Hatchin by Deloitte. So the agenda of this meeting or this session is like what is design thinking, why it is important, what is the definition of a good design, what are different models of design thinking, and we'll be discussing some real life business use cases also, and then we'll be deep diving to architectural design and is it backend or backbone of any application tech, and then we'll be wrapping up the session. So we'll be in the contents in the slides are like design thinking definition, importance of design thinking, what are the goals of design thinking, process stage of design thinking, definition of a good design, models of design thinking. So there are some pre-built models and we will discuss real life business use cases and then we'll cover the architectural designs part and then we'll work on the question that is it the backend or it's the backbone. Okay. If there are some questions in the chat, I am happy to answer that. It's certificate provide. I'm not getting that. So please reform your questions and you can ask again. So let's start our presentation. So design thinking. So first of all, any one of you, what do you know about, what do you feel, what is design thinking? When it strikes your mind, what comes first when you think about design thinking? Anyone? Anyone from the group who wants to answer? They can answer in the chat. So when you think about what is design thinking, okay, startup plan. I see some answer. Yeah. So not about only startup thing. So not about only website. So design comparison of not only tech but also non-tech, right? So when you think about design thinking, think like you're thinking about your if you're making something out of zero. So for example, when the first bridge was built, you know, not only in tech, that's why I said when the first bridge was built, they would have thought what could go wrong, how to support it, how to make an hanging bridge where the tension was applied, and how to make it more secure. So that idea was only adapted to tech industry. So when they were building any tech, right? So be it, so the major part is like Facebook, you know, it's like has a big revolution in tech. So when they were building Facebook, what first thought they would see, right? So when you say blueprint, I see answer as a blueprint. So it's not only blueprint, right? They have to be visionary, you know. They can be also product design. They can be also process design, you know. If you're going to build Facebook, what process you have to follow, you know, what stages you need to go through before making a final product ready, you know. So all those things comparisons of design thinking. So it refers to the cognitive, strategic, practical process by which design concepts are developed by design teams. You know, here design teams for tech can be architects, even developers, senior developers, even product managers. So these are for for example, designing a car, they can be graphic designer team. For designing a website, they can be UI UX designers. But for the backend, it's always a solution architect that will design the backend part. Again, it is also associated with prescription for the innovation of products and services within the business and social context. So why the prescription? Just a second. Yeah. So why the prescriptions? Prescription as we already have inbuilt processes, right? So that, for example, when people succeed, they make it a process, right? So that when another person comes up and have to build a product or a process, they will follow the same steps. So it's not hard and fast rules, but yeah, some of the steps are same they should follow to succeed. You know, so that's why for the innovation of the project, for example, if you already have Facebook, they are introducing a new feature, then also you need to apply the design thinking to enhance it, right? So what are the importance? So importance of design thinking are like creates better experience and employee experience, deepen and widen customer relationships. For this, the example is Flipkart, Amazon, how they build the trust, how they processed all the things, how they designed in such a way that it's user friendly also, and people are accepting also. So it's user acceptant also. Improves customer retention, that loyalty. If you trust the design, then only you will use it again. For example, you trust PhonePe, you trust GPay, then only you're sharing your bank details with them. So that's a factor, you know, how a design works. You know, if there's a trust, you trust Google, then you install that application. You trust Play Store, that's why you install blindly that application is over Play Store, then it is secure, right? So this all is part of design. If google Google Pay somehow uh like somehow it is hacked or something, so that then you at some extent you will lose your trust. You know, they will have to rebuild. You know, for example, if 10 rupees debited from your account without any knowledge due to Google Pay error, they will refund it to make it more trustworthy. They will refund from their side, but if it again will happen like for example again and again and again, so there's a design loop there, and if there's a loophole as a design part, then you'll lose their trust and you'll uninstall the application. And even if they will say that now we are secure, we have fixed the patch, now your money won't be losing, but again there will a trust factor. You will think 10 times that right now I have lost 100 or 1000 rupees. It may happen that tomorrow I can lose all my money in the account, right? So these are also like a trust factor. Reduce efficiencies, right? If you open Google Pay and it will take 10 minutes of time, then also you will lose the interest. You will use phone pay instead. So this efficiencies, right, we have to refine it using design thinking. Design new business models. So right now Google Pay is a like a payment merchant. Tomorrow, right now also they're involving, right? They're becoming more than just a Google, like a payment merchant. They're trying to provide the services. So same as Amazon, right? It's a marketplace, but now they're also trying to be like a payment vendor, like a Amazon Pay, So this is like how they follow, right? How they are already an existing marketplace. Now they have to enhance the part, and they have to add the other pays, which is also like a payment gateway. Then again, they will have to design the process so that it's seamless and efficient. And again, it increases the value to society. So these names I'm taking this in session, right? Because I'm taking this because they are providing value to the society. They are well known names. If I take any name which is not even known by any one of you, then it's again, you'll have to think that what the application is talking about. So again, these are the factors how design is important. Now we'll see what are the design failure costs. So as I already told you, for example, GPay, if in few days back we have heard the news that 70,000 was like not debited but credited to some of the users. Some of the users just transferred their money to different accounts, and some users were like, again, the amount was debited from Google Pay. So it was a error from Google Pay side. So again, it we think Google is a very secure company, very trustworthy company, but these incident, right, design failure incident, cause them reputations. Again, it is a reputation harm. Even some design, for example, some well-known brands, will do a loophole comes. There's a design failure if they have launched a product basically, or project, and it was a complete design failure. It hampers their reputation. This is the minimal they do, right? Now let's deep down in more than reputation. What it can do, it can do a fortune. Some big companies failed to design their process. They were doing very good in their time, but they failed to migrate to new designs. The process design thinking was missing, and now they lost a huge amount of money. For example, some of the brands do advertisement, but somehow it hurts some sentiments. They have not think it through. They were not doing the proper design thinking while when launching the project or product. Now, after the backlash, they have to pull that product from the market, and again, they lost a huge fortune. And that the person who has designed it will obviously lose jobs. If solution architect is making a design of an application, just think it's like a product. So now I'm a solution architect, for example. I company, a client comes to me and wants his product to be designed, a marketplace to be designed. And I will design for next 2 years. What are the challenges can come? What are the new innovations can come in that? How to evolve it with the time. So that's why agile. But if in after 2 years, if I fails to deliver what he wanted, then it will cost my job from my current company, as well as the client will be unhappy. And for example, using my marketplace, which I designed as a backend, the backend design was very bad. And somehow the company lost sensitive data, then the client company will sue me, or the customer will sue the client company, and the client company will sue our company, and then our company will what will they to bring the damages to, like, change the damages, how damages they can take care of. The part of the damages control will be my job. So that's why a job can be also lost just because of design failure. Again, sometimes even the company gets bankrupt. They they tried to do a design thinking, they tried to change the design process, but they failed. They didn't think it through, they didn't cover all the parameters, and right, and after some time, that company is bankrupt, or company just, the government banned that company. If you see Crafton, or Tencent games, they didn't think it through. They made a design in such a way that the server, if, were violating and the compliance was there in India's territory, and that's why government banned it in India. And now they lost a huge fortune, and company as well. Now they have to again collaborate with other company, which is Crafton, and then again try to relaunch. Again, there were some design failures, and see again it was banned for another a year or so. So again, it also can cost a company, and at last it can also cost lives. It's called design disasters, so for example, if some company L&T is building a bridge, and that bridge somehow collapsed, and after that bridge collapse, that company will lose reputation, the jobs of the senior engineers will go, the company lost a fortune, they will not get a tender and all, and last it also have legal cases and lives on their name, right? So these all are design failures. Let's have some examples of what design failures can be. So this is one of the famous, if some of you have been Apple users can relate to it. So this is a design failure for Apple. So it so my friend was a user of iPhone 4. So when he tried to click the pictures, when he had 32 GBs of memory. So it came out as a pop-up that cannot take photo. There's not enough available storage to take a photo. You can manage your storage and settings. But it didn't say that how much memory is needed to at least take one photo. So should I delete one picture or five picture or 10? So he continuously used to delete one. He tried to take the photo again. It came up as a pop-up that cannot take photo. He used to delete two more pictures. Then he tried to click the photo again and again. So it was very hit and trial method, and it was very annoying as to the customer as well. So this is one of the design failure. When they were trying after five pictures, he was like, how much more pictures I need to delete, right? And they were also losing their valuable pictures. They had to select which pictures they can delete and which they want to keep. So this is one of the Apple's design failure. Now this is one of the leading brand. Now any one of you can see, and can you tell me what's wrong with this picture? This had a very big backlash in the basically in the designing industry, fashion designing industry. What was the issue with this? Okay. Anyone else? I see cannot tell what it is about. No, it even why people said backlash when it hurts the sentiments, when you see the knot, when you observe the knot of this design cloth, it it is suggesting something related to the hang knot, people who try to suicide or people who were hung till that in earlier century or even till now. These knots are the peculiar knots which are used, these are the very common knots. So when a brand is giving it as a hoodie, then the question is, what are they trying to promote? Are they trying to promote suicide? Are they trying to promote the punishment, that capital punishment? So again, these are the particular things we need to take. They have to take this lineup. They have to scrap this lineup now. All these process, like 8 to 9 months of process, just got vanished, like just got wasted. So these all the things we need to take care. So this promotions kind of thing is a very marketing part. Whenever a company is doing marketing, the design process and the design thinking is very important. So again, some of the funny advertisements. So this is the camper mat, but in the advertisement, the person who is advertising doesn't want to sit on it. He's just using to keep the book. So it's sometimes I said it's also about reputations, So it's a matter of laugh now. They were trying to promote their mat, but it's they themselves are showing that it's useless. People will just prefer normal ground instead of this. So again, a funny. So who will any of you will from the audience will try to go on this airlines, who is trying who is directly making you see that it's going into the ground, it's kind of crashing. So who would have thought that advertisement, well thought advertisement at a wrong place could lead to disaster, so again, I told you that it can also, yeah, it's a meme marketing strategy, I see it, but again, it's the concept of today's world, just to make it so it is negatively famous, so there are some positive like reviews, and there are some negative reviews, negative marketing, people are used to it. But again, will you, even if you now, if come back, let's come back to this event. If Turkish Airlines, even if you know about Turkish Airlines now, it's been shared as a mockery. Will you say, like, will you send your loved ones? Will you book a ticket from Turkish Airlines if they are promoting, continuously promoting these kinds of, even in the meme market, even in the as a negative marketing, if they are promoting? No, right? They will think twice if I send my loved ones to the one who is like themselves promoting that they are going to the ground or something like this, right? It's so lives are not always about being funny. It should be well thought, because it's also in the direct, because it's directly affecting the company's growth, the company's uh, uh, the net worth of the company and the overall growth in the year, right? So again, let's go, go to our last design disaster, which is Hindenburg disaster. A catastrophe that put a halt to an era of passenger airship. This airship was very common. They were becoming very common in near like 1960s, 1950. But this Hindenburg disaster, it it started becoming very much, And after this peculiar incident, government banned these. So all the companies who had this already built and was running had to make it, like, cannot make it to air now. They have to make it to ground. All the related ships, all the companies got lost. All the companies had a big revenue loss who has already deep invested. All the companies who have already were going to order or had made order and was in progress, all the companies who were building these, so just because of helium, as a helium is highly combustible gas, and they were trying to make helium balloons to make it fly. This was actually slow, but it was not safer, This was cheap also, to be honest, for air travels. But again, from the safety point of view, it was very risky. That's why it got completely banned, and now you don't see anything. Same example is for Air France. So they were Concorde airplanes, which were like speed of thrice the speed of what today's aeroplane Airbus can fly, in 3 times. But it had so many sound pollution issues, so many like climate issues, basically air pollution issues. Again, it was everything. It was with all the fastest plane, passenger plane. But again, people continuously complained about environmental concerns, noise concern. If it crossed above, it caused a very huge bad sound. The people were annoyed after some time. Then it got cancelled, and now most of the Concorde, like even well thought aeroplanes, were just rammed down. So this is about bad design. So how bad design impact in tech industry? So according to McKinsey Oxford study, it's a report in 2012, that 17% of those large projects has gone so badly that even they threaten the very existence of the organization. Our research also shows that large projects having large amount of information that requires integration. So as a backend developer, I'm saying this, have developed failure rate of 50%, more than 50% in the smaller. So more the complex backend, the more chances of that it will fail. According to some studies like Force 2016 and BCC 2020, 70 to 80 digital transformation. It's 70 to 84 of digital transformation efforts ended in partially and total failure. Let's come to this fact. Why? Because, for example, if this was due to COVID, so when COVID came, everyone, for example, to Adidas, to Nike, so to all the brands, who were doing their they were in-store purchases. Basically, there's malls and stores of them. They were trying to go online marketplaces, and they were trying to. So there were two types of companies. Some chose marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, which increased their value, but again, there were a marketplace costs. So when you are going to a marketplace, they will also take around 20% of your like CP, or 20% of your selling price. So to cut that, if you are a very huge company, you can invest in the architectures, you can invest in your own CRM. Then people try to make their own marketplaces. For example, they have their own CRMs, everything they try to make there. So this is called omni transformation. A retail who were doing store purchases now wants to go online, and they wants to retain, don't want to don't want to sell through the marketplaces, but through their own websites, through their own apps. But the problem was any transformation with as they had, so there were two problems. First, they were using already legacy systems. The second problem, even if they were using legacy system, they tried to purchase new systems, new techs. But again, the transformation took time. So for example, if you started a project in 2020 and if you're still not in production, basically it's still the customer is not using it, either way you are feeling just seeing losses, you're not seeing any revenue. At least on the marketplaces you were seeing revenue and with a 30 or 20% surcharge, but again you were at least seeing some revenue. But something you are trying to build in an omni project and still not in production is just a loss for you. So waiting time can also be very a big impact. So again, that's why in digital transformation, the bigger the project is, it 50% chance that it will fail. The smaller, obviously, the smaller platforms, which have very low inventory, very less backend architecture, a simple backend architecture, they are easily to migrate and they migrate easily and go online with production. So now they are also design thinking process and stages. So these are inbuilt design thinking steps where it's prescribed and you can follow this. So uh first like it's like design thinking is human centered approach to innovation that draws from designers toolkit. So these are some toolkits to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirement of business success. Now let's talk about one by one for all of them. So empathy. So whenever you are building any design for any backend, any tech, so I'm building Amazon, for example, something like Amazon. I'll call it Amazon cart, okay, or Amacart. When I'm building Amacart, first I will think as a user's perspective, empathy, that what a user will want. So I'll think that user will want a easy one by click, okay, one tap click, okay. A user will want options for one. A user will want filter. User will want cart. A user will want wish listing. A user will want payment option so that he can directly pay from there, or a user will also want COD. And last, I'll also think what user will want, like a delivery date when he will get the actual material or actual parcel when he is ordering, right? Again, I have to define these all problems. These are my mind thought problems. How, like, just marketplaces, I randomly counted you 10 problems. When I'll do the deep design thinking or brainstorming with 5 people, there will be 50 problems a user will want, 50 features a user will want. Then again, we'll narrow it down and then we'll learn that 30 problems is a must, or 30, I'm saying it a problem for me, but it's a feature for customer. Okay. So they like there are 30 problem statements, which is a must for our app success. Now we'll have to define all those problems. Now we'll have to again brainstorm to ideate the potential solution. There can be multiple solution for the same problem. So for example, I can choose, it depends upon the DB what I go for. Should I go for Azure? Should I go for AWS at terms of DB? So I'll have to check that my clients, like, is he deeply invested in Azure already? Then I'll have to train my team on Azure. If my team is already well skilled in AWS, I'll try to pitch it to client that my AWS a better solution. But again, if he denies, clients, like clients decision, the last decision, right? So then you have to make more potential that to save the costs from your side as well, as you have to train your team again on Azure. Again, select what is the best option to go forward with, which will cost the minimum cost, efficient solution, and the fastest solution. Again, you have to prototype it. Obviously, you cannot directly go live. You have to test it, do a testing, also do like internal testing, integration testing, user acceptance testing. Every testing, if you do it, after that you go for beta testing, that even for smaller group of people, you observe what is going good, what is going bad. And then again, you launch for a bigger section of people. Innovation is a continuous process. So maintenance, innovation comes in tests. So after prototyping, you test all kinds of things. Again, you try to enhance it. And the better design is to also always leave a space to grow, a space to enhance. So if I'm building a building, for example, 4 blocks of building as a tech, I'll always try to leave a space where I can always have a space to enhance it. So for example, if I'm building Amazon tech place, I will always design in such a way so that it will have a docket. Okay, for example, it will have extension where some application, for example, it can interact with other application. Or if I want to build in-house application, I can just plug it, plug and play. I'll always try to make such effective design approaches. Now, these are just steps. Now, what is our goal of design thinking process? So the goal is, anyone, before I start explaining, anyone who wants to share what are the goals? What is the basically goal when we go for design thinking process? Any company, anyone, if chooses design thinking, what they feel. So goal is to the in your goal of the design thinking process is to understand the problem, define the problem, understand and empathize the problem. Yeah, define the problem, create solutions according to that problem. Ideate basically is like to make more efficient solution, prototype it and deliver. And before delivering, this test and then deliver. So to get the better product, I see one of the answer I see in business to attract customer mindset, user friendly, availability, scalability. Yes. So all these things is part of the goal, but the goal is to think like them. Whenever I give a problem, if I give a problem to Elewayte solutions, they will first think what they want. Some client just will tell, I need this, I need this, I need this. But first, Elewayte has to think, or the solution. Elewayte thinks what solution can be given to the client, because he is a business person. He is not a tech person. He can be a tech person, but the tech, if he is coming with the for the tech solution to you, then you have to see what are the solution you can prescribe. What are the best solutions, you know? And for that, first you'll have to create, like define and understand. You need to understand the business problem, then you have to define the problem. Some problems, as for example, some businesses or client will come that I need this, I need this solution, I need everything. They will have, they will have their own resources, they will have their own understanding, they will have their own definition. But again, as a solution architect, you have to understand their problem, analyze it again, and define their problem. It can be same definition, it can be different definition from your point of view. And then again, you have to create the solution on the basis of what you made the analysis. Basically, the goals are to solve complex problems from human perspective. Design thinking process like creativity, innovation, user certainty focuses on solution like desirable for the user, viable for the business. Again, right? I'll make a solution in such a way, and I'll make the design process in such a way that it is desirable, like best for the user. User will like it, user will accept it, and it is also viable for business. I won't try to make them overkill or overburn. So I know if user, I can make the fastest application using this and this, like more expensive tech. But is it the requirement? Is that the it will be benefit? It will be like, for example, if you send the chat, it can go to like 0.1 second. To, for example, if you use WhatsApp, I can make it to as fast as 0.1 seconds to the next person. I can deliver it, but it will be very expensive for the WhatsApp organization. So should I implement that, or should I do a 0.5 second, which is still very fast for the user, but again, a more viable solution, a more efficient or cost efficient solution for the business. So again, this is also a goal while you think a design process. And again, technologically feasible. So I won't make something which is very impractical. When you're designing a backend architecture, you'll have to think what are the resources you have, and is it even possible. Integrating, if the more complex you will make, the more problems you'll have, with enhancing it. So we say that make loosely coupled things. It's very market trendy that everything should be loosely coupled and everything should not be dependent. They should not be very interdependent. They should be isolated. So anyone who says what is the definition of a good design, anyone who thinks that he can answer it, what they think, like anyone in that group want to share that what they feel is a definition of a good design to attract customers. Okay, so just treat it as a normal thing, not to attract just customers. Just think it, if you're designing a bridge, if you're designing anything, a train, like Vande Bharat, anything, Vande Bharat 2.0, any application, Amazon 2.0, Flipkart 2.0, Facebook 2.0, Instagram 2.0. Okay, I see that one answer is to accept the features and make a dramatic pictures to make what it is about. Okay, so they can be process design, they can be product design, they can be marketing design. Everything correlates but is different. So good design is way to design without drawbacks. I'm not pretty convinced with this answer, but it's still a good answer. Innovative. Okay, so I see one answer, innovative. So one thing, a good design is not a user friendly design. It's not a very simple design. A good design is what which user is accepting and is liking. For an example, if you have seen many, okay, design should be innovative. That is one of the call. But if it is innovative and people are not using it, people are not liking it, it is not convenient to people. It can be user friendly, but it is not. People are not accepting that design. Then that's a design disaster. That's a bad design, to be honest. I'll tell you one example. So Google came with Allo. There was a chat bot. People could chat. Many different companies came. People came with even Elon Musk gave to market Switch. That was a chatting platform. People tried to go there, but again came back to WhatsApp. So what's unique with WhatsApp? WhatsApp is not like WhatsApp is very simple, right? Why people are stuck to WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp, when WhatsApp came, it was very simple to understand. Even the elder people can understand. It is fulfilling your requirement. There was one of the application which called Tap Tap. Bhuvan Bam, a leading YouTuber, used to market it, but again it failed. Why? Because and it has many features. It was very innovative. From Tap Tap, you can book the cabs. In Tap Tap, you can make your payment. Tap Tap, you can book your film, movie tickets. One-stop solution. It was everything. Tap Tap, you can chat. Tap Tap, you can video call. It was everything. It was like package application, everything in at one place. But people didn't like it. It eventually failed. People wanted their application. People wanted phone pay to do the payments. People wanted WhatsApp to chat. People wanted Instagram to post their pictures. They don't want everything at one place. Though the applications are innovative, they are fast, they are everything you think they could be. Even they are cost effective. Everything they had, again they failed because of the reason of the trust, of the simple to use and people's acceptance. If you make a bridge which is very scientifically proven, very fast, very efficient, but if people are not using that bridge, over time you will see that there is no development. People and companies, government won't be investing very much. If even for architectural marvel, Bandra ceiling, they have made, before anything they have to think like it's architectural now how to make anything in the sea with all the currents. Also the fishermen has to be accommodated because there was challenge that if the pillars were too close, then ships couldn't cross. If pillars were very distant, then it costed it like the architectural backbone. Pillars are the actual architectural backbone for any bridges. That is compromised. So everything should be well thought. A definition of good design is only when people are accepting it, people are actually liking it. And again, that is not that I like it WhatsApp now, but if my WhatsApp chats are getting leaked, I lose the trust. So design process is something like a continuous process. So you'll have to make trust, you have to make user like, but you also be consistent in that like factor. That continue, you don't change so much. So WhatsApp, you see green platform, green everything. All of a sudden, if you change WhatsApp to marketplace, again you will uninstall that app the next day. So for 10 years you have been on WhatsApp. If they change a majorly update comes, they change the way it is, they try to make it more gaming app, they try to make it more marketplace, they lose their gist of the originality. You will start leaving. You will see significant drop of users of WhatsApp. Any new simple application will come and take their place. It has already happened in history. So now let us discuss some models of design thinking. So there are some pre-built models which is already there. So to guide you to make any basically any design uh, thinking model of phase design. So basically let's go through it. So it's one of the design thinking model where you generate the ideas, make connection, take insight, try, experiment, idea, take the idea, again explore, again take the info, generate more ideas, make more connections, take the insights, try, experiment, prototype. So it's a spiral model. It goes in a loop, and there's a no once there's a no point of stopping. So you take it. So it's just a continuous evolution. So let's go to second, user-centered design. User-centered design is you think like a user. You plan, you measure, you adapt, you design, and you research. Again, you research, you plan, you design, you adapt, you take measures. So it's not as like a step process. Anything revolves around user. So anything, a challenge comes, you adapt. A requirement comes, people wants it. People wants, you see that there is a constant like requirement that people wants to do a video call through WhatsApp. You design it. You plan it, then you design it. You design it, and then you take measures how to make it more efficient. Then you research it, you need application, and you enhance it. So this is user-centered design. Now it is like a shared model where you understand and design together. Again, define and diverge together. Again, with diverge and decide together. And at the time of deciding, you prototype again together, and prototype, you validate it together. So it's phases design. You say like it's like a continuous process, but again, it is mixed. So when you understand, you start defining it. When you define, you start diverging the problem. When you diverge, you start deciding the problem, like how the solution is. When you decide the solution, it's the same time you prototype. So prototype 1.0, prototype 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then you have 5 prototypes. Now you'll have to validate it. You start validating it. So there are some models given by different institutions. So this is Austin Center for Design and Education program, where they say that it's a spiral model for the starting, and when you go for the spiral becomes less. So for example, when you identify the problem, so it is ethnography, where is the first step where you discover. So you discover 10 problems. Then you ideate what is the potential solutions. Then you synthesis. Basically, in the second process stage, synthesis, you make those similar problems in one problem, and then you iterate it again and again and again and then through refining, and then you get your two major problems, which is the solution for all the things. Then you prototype and then validate, and you then launch the final product, which is implementation. So again, deep design thinking, design educator Mary Cantwell has given it. This talks about basically, again, in a pi manner, which is empathize, discover, experiment, and produce. So empathize is seeing as from the user's point of view. Experiment, that if it is like if we are capable of doing that, we produce and again discover. So it's like a spiral responsibility, like a pie responsibility. So discover any problem is there. Like for example, I discover one problem that Amazon, being an Amazon or Amacart, which I built application. So I'll discover a problem that users are feeling that they're not able to wish list. They are taking screenshots. I see that they're commenting continuously that I need to wish list. I wanted to buy, but I couldn't now find it. Then I see that as a user, how I would feel if I actually need this or not in my application. Then I experiment what changes is there, what the cost of the development, how it will interact, how it will be in terms of security. Then we'll produce, right? And then we'll produce, and then we'll go to production. We'll have the update, and if people will like it, we'll have a positive reaction. Again, designs council, like UK Charity for Strategic Design is like it's a double design model. By design concept also consists of 4 phases: discover, define, develop, deliver. It follows a similar structure to the Stanford D model, like emphasizing the divergent and convergent thinking at each step. So trigger, vision, solution, and here it's like define the strategy, execute the solution. So trigger point is something when you feel there's a thing coming from demand coming from customer. So it's like a demand and supply. So you understand, define. Vision is also very required for, it's very much required while doing the design thinking process. So if I'm making a design which will be implemented around 9 months of time, so I have to also be visionary that will it be there. So will be required after 9 months. Then we explore all the solutions and create the solution after that, and we'll then launch for the customers. Again, there is Design for America Student Social Innovation Farm. Also tells about design, where is like identify. There are 2 phases: understand and create. So identify has like identify, immerse, and reframe, ideate, build, and test. There is one IDEO design, international design consulting firm, comes with different approach with discover, interpretation, ideation, experimentation, and evaluation. So it's a renowned design consultancy. So it involves 3 phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. The inspiration phase emphasizes empathy and understanding the user's perspective. The ideation phase focuses on generating a wide range of ideas, and the implementation phase involves like prototyping, testing, iterating on the ideas to bring them to life. So now right now we have discussed about design thinking, process design thinking. Let's discuss about like what what are these design thinking, what kind of like designs can be, so for example there can be branding and visual identity design. Packaging design is also very important, some for product based company, they're selling something to the customer. UI, user designs, UX designs for Amazon, like for tech industries. Website and landing page design, if you go to the next page, that design also matters. Product design and development design is also there. Like you have to, here it comes the process design part. You have to also design the process, how my product gonna improve, enhance over the months, over the time. Again, store layout design, visual design, service design. So for example, service design concept, like if something error happens, fault tolerant designs. So how you gonna come back, for example, if you're building a bridge, if you're building Burj Khalifa, you'll have also think, you need to think if a storm comes, how my Burj Khalifa, how my tech, for example, how my website, for example, if I'm making Amazon, I'll have to say that people come, so many people land on my page, how I will have a fault tolerant design so that my in the time of sale when people are actually going to buy it, they're not able to make the transactions, then it will be a design failure from my side as well. So again, we'll have to think like that as well. There is one more thing is customer journey mapping design. So how the customer journey on my application will look like in 2 years. For example, that I have to be visionary about it. And also the analysis part where how it actually looked, my how my customer who joined at the time of launch, is it there? So customer retention is there, in last next 2 years, how often he is visiting my website. These comparison we need to do to evolve our design thinking process. So let's take some real life examples, business. So when Apple came to market from iPhone, for example, for phones, there were no marketplace for Apple. There were Motorola, there was BlackBerry, there was Samsung, there was Nokia. They were leading, market experts, leading brand. People used to come. But what they did, Apple, what they uniquely did, they innovated in their design process. When they were everyone was using keypads, they launched touch screens. Now what other failed, now most of the brands I took name, right? LG, Motorola, Nokia, all these brands, BlackBerry are almost non-existent. at the time when Apple got launched, it disrupted the market. They were the market leaders. They had 60%, 30%, 50% market capture, and Apple started from zero. You know, and then when they launched their iPhone, it disrupted the market. It changed the market. It looked so now Apple is the one of the leading brands, and when what the names I'm calling may not even you get the phone now. What they lacked is the design process. So they were also having money. It's not about money. They could they could basically they can give everything because their company was having a disaster. But the design process to change from keypad or to touch screens was not that efficient. The brands which were able to do is survive. The Samsung were also there. Samsung survived that Apple's chaos. What on other brands as well. So other brands from zero also took that Apple's inspiration. So your design can be also come from inspiration. It's not copying. If someone is already doing things. So for example, if Amazon is already doing a marketplace in US, if your design is inspired from Amazon and you build something, an application like Flipkart in India, it doesn't mean you copied the design. You just took the inspiration of the design. Similarly, even if like Apple, some brand, for example, Samsung took inspiration that yeah, they can also provide similar thing. If they process in the design in such a way that they were able to compete in the market at the lower time, so that Apple also doesn't go so much further, then it's still logical and it should be done. Let's go to the next brand, which is Airbnb. So earlier people used to travel a lot, but every time they had to find some hotels, motels, which was very expensive you know so what Airbnb thought that people can accommodate guests. They have their living rooms, they have their extra rooms, guest rooms. People are happy to have guests, with and they just they don't want many like much money like how the hotel brands was requesting. So for example, if a hotel is in India requesting 2000 rupees, and some, for example, in my home, if I have a guest room which is often empty, if some guest comes and stays for a night and gives me 500 or 600 rupees, I would be more than happy. So what Airbnb did, it disrupted the hospitality management or hospitality market, to be honest, and then brought the local people and the guests, the travelers together. And at one platform, you can just directly from one click, you can book. I can, as a host, I can confirm. People also got like a family, even if they are traveling to different country, different cities, they got they got they felt like a family connection. I can also take him to the local market. I also got friends. He also got familiar with the city. So all this was like from zero, Airbnb became one of the top industry, like application where you can book your hospitality things, like you can book your like your stays, which is like earlier also there was a big bread and breakfast was also there in US, but what it did, it brought that market to cloud. So this is how tech thoughts. Now again, Tesla is one of the examples of where there were many leading brands which were from 1900, 1800, Ford and all. Tesla came out with a new feature, new design, and that design process was like automated cars, and came and became one of the top motor vehicle website or motor vehicle company. When they were Jeep, and they could not, these startups, when you say, I can, startups can change a lot. They are very dynamic in nature. So when Ford is heavily invested, like thousands of crores invested in a program where they will be building, like for 4 years, they will be building like petrol vehicles with only the older design. They cannot migrate, they cannot scrap those things. They cannot scrap their planning. But a new company, a new startup can do those things. That's why startup is growing. They have more bandwidth to adapt, more bandwidth to change, more bandwidth to modify and which makes them dynamic in nature. So again, Tesla became one of the bigger company. Their valuation is in trillions. And again, Ford and all those older companies, which are Jeep, which are there for like 100 or 200 years, still struggling for even survival in countries like India. So again, Netflix and Salesforce did the similar task. So Netflix in the terms of streaming. So it started in early 2000 when they were 2G internet, even not 2G internet. They started the concept of streaming. Blockbuster could easily buy. There's a company called Blockbuster in US used to rent videos and CDs to the customers, and they could easily like bought Netflix. But they just didn't had that design thinking in their mind, and the process and the product designing part, the innovation part, they didn't lag they lagged it. And later in the stage we see that Netflix is one of the biggest company in the world for streaming, but you'd never heard about Blockbuster because it got bankrupt, and because it was so rigid to its process. But again, other OTTs came, Amazon Prime, Hotstar. These were also a part of design thinking, right? And they inspired that design from Netflix. But again, they are doing good. It was not a copy, but it was inspiration. Same for Salesforce. When people were thinking about making their own websites, everything, what Salesforce did, they made a CRM, which is customer relationship management. So you don't have to build your website. You can have a CRM in so earlier people were using Excel, file system to maintain records, everything. Now, what Salesforce said, just come to my CRM, my platform, and I will manage everything. I'll manage your orders, I'll manage your warranty, I'll manage your customer relationships, like every interaction, service support, your sales, accounts. So at one step, everything came, the DB part, the analytics part, everything. So it disrupted the market. Now all older things which were using the, applications which they were using, different applications they were using, they were scrapped and everyone moved to Salesforce. Again, a Zoho, a Indian brand, inspired from Salesforce, started their own CRM, again. So they also disrupted the market. They brought the cheaper prices. So it's always wise to grow with the market. Let's now we have discussed everything related to design thinking, design disasters. We know design process, how to think while designing anything, how to think while designing in engineering, how to think while designing a tech, you know, what we should think before designing process, like what tech stack we have, what is the best solution, what is the potential solution, you know. Now what we'll do is the next step is to design the backend. Now we'll understand how backend works. So now what are architectural designs? Anyone? Anyone from the group? What are architectural designs? Okay, I see infrastructure. Please do share to everyone so that everyone sees it in the chat. Don't directly DM me. So blueprint of the system. I see interior design. Okay. What is architectural designs? What do you mean by architectural designs? When you're designing in terms of any tech, any backend, even if you think you can answer in the terms of any engineering concept, for example, any bridges and all, CAD, CAM, okay, infrastructure and CAD, practice of structure, okay. So it refers to the process of creating a blueprint, a plan, anything for structure, organization, behavior of software system and any application. It also encompasses various aspects, including the selection of appropriate technologies. I said like what tech stack I can use, what system boundaries. So these are what architectural designs are designed by solution architects. What are my system boundaries? I'll decide if I'm using Oracle, Xstore, like Xstore's Oracle, Xstore's Snowflake, AWS, Azure for some part. What are my boundaries for the all the system? What communication protocols I will have? What are the data storage mechanism? How data is redundant? How data is isolated? What data can be shared? What data are sensitive? So, for example, as a integration expert, if some source uh, table or some source system is sharing a sensitive data, as an integration, as a middleware, I need to mask them before sending it to any outer application or third party application. That responsibility comes under my domain. That even if source system is as an integration, as a middleware and their system, they're trusting me. So for example, if a front end is testing me, is trusting me to send the data which is like sent from the user. For example, if he's sending username and password and he's sending to couple of systems, so I'm integrating them. So I'll, for obviously reasons, I'll have those credentials. For three systems, I need to send it. So for any backend where the password and username is saved, I need to send those. But any for the marketing agency, if I'm sending those, that would be my fault, right? So that I need to take care of, that what communications I can have, and what storage data storage mechanism can I have, and what are the boundaries. I need to mask it to send it to any other system which is directly showing it, or third party system which it comes as an outsider to me. Even if it is inside the system, if the data is not needed there, I just need to mask it. So that can be credit card credentials, that can be CVV, that can be password, anything. And again, overall system behavior. So this backend architectural designs will decide what behavior of the system is. For example, if you send a message from Instagram, for example, hi, to US, any customer, like any friend of yours in US, so our data storage reasons will be different, our laws will be different. So I can send a video here. I sent a video from India, which is legal and which is appropriate and had no compliance issue in the region of India, but can have a compliance issue in the region of US. So as an Instagram solution architect, I need to do that compliance check as well. That will, is it allowed to send in US? So I'll have two solutions. I'll I'll be able to send, I'll ask, like, I'll, from the user's point of view, I'll send it, and I'll show that the target user, for example, a friend in US, that you got a message, a video message from India from your friend, but you're not able to see it due to compliance issue, or I'll restrict in India as only. For example, in when I try to send that video, I'll say that this restricts, and this video cannot be sent due to compliance issue, which is in US. So I won't. This is not sent. Or for I'll in the simple words I'll say fail to send, and learn more. I'll give all these compliance requirements, right? So this is how we decide to set boundaries, so that user acceptance is also there. Like, user should also know that what happened, but should not know everything. But again, we'll have to communicate something to make them understand there was a problem. Now, this comes under third point. It involves making decisions of the system structure, such as division of responsibilities among different components, flow of data, control, and mechanism of system extensibility and executability. So let's see this architecture. What we are seeing is, like, people, different systems are working. So here it's a marketing system, here's the analytics system, here's the backend coding system, here's the management system, right? They are all are isolated systems. They are working alone, basically in the isolated environment, but they are working for one application together. So this is isolation of process, but working for the similar goal. So this marketing strategy should not hinder any work in the analytics. This backend code should not hinder any work in the marketing strategy. So again, it can be hierarchical as well. So the mother system or the parent system and the child system. Again, it will have two different child systems. So this parent system will have everything of this child system, but this child system won't having anything regarding to this parent system. In the sense of, basically in the sense of what protocols it will have. So it will inherit everything, but permissions it won't have. For example, a child system won't have a permission level of parent system. It is isolated process. So both marketing and analytics work for a common process, but it will just have to deliver the data, and it will deliver the data to its master process. So now, what do you think when you hear about backend? What is backend? Any one of you? What is backend? When backend strikes your mind, what do you feel? Okay, support for data a user cannot see. So backend is something like whatever is handled, whatever your system responds, Whatever how your application responds, that is depending on backend. How you save your data, where to store your data, everything is a backend. So for example, let's come to that fact. So it's a question, right? Is it the backend or the backend of any application slash tech? So any tech, is it the backend, the backbone? Any one of you, yes or no? Is the backend is only the backbone? So why you feel backend is not backbone? I'll come with an example. Is like front end is something what you see, like a UI. For example, what you see, I is a front end. But are you sure that data is not inverted? You must have read that I sees inverted data, then it gets absorbed to the backend spinal cord, which is the backend. So that's the backbone. And that spinal cord transforms the data to sends the data to brain, which reinverts the data. And then it shows like the data is inverted from the eye perspective, and then brain reads it in that reinversion form. And then we see the state data. Again, how backbone is backend is how it works. For example, fault tolerance. If so your skin is also fronted. So when your skin, if by mistake you kept your hand on a burning press, a burning iron, your skin will send the data. Again, what your backend will do for the fault tolerance. For example, if server is down, it will again try to make that server up, or they will a backup server. It will send the data directly to backend server to make it up, so that your app is not down. And at the same time, it will also inform the brain. For example, it will also inform you that your servers are down, but now it is up. We have restarted it. That is fault tolerance. So again, whenever you feel the burning sensation, your motor nerves will be ordered by your backend, which is backbone, to keep your hand away from it. Like take your hand away from it, and then you will get to know, it will also signal your brain that your hand was burning. So your motor sensation is faster. Then you get to know, okay, why I did this. So I did this because my hand was burning. So that's why this question, when you say that if backend is the backbone, yes, backend is the backbone. I'll tell you the reason, more reasons, how it is backbone. There are so many factors. What are the factors which decides is as a backbone? First is foundation. So any backend system, besides the foundation of the very foundation of that application, how your application can grow, if there's a room for improvement, if you have left something so that it a port, or basically like a plug and play port, where you can have in the future that there's a chance for enhancement as well. So this is all you have to decide. If your application is going to be secure, you have to leave room spaces for everything. If you make it more rigid, more tightly coupled, there's very less room to accommodate any changes. So just an example, think about like that. If you made any application and in 2 years the foundation was very different what they decided, it's very hard for any tech team to come back again and then again learn about or make changes. It's a nightmare for the tech team. It's a nightmare for the solution architect to redesign the solution in a such a way that it it did not, like, it also take the changes as well, and it not does not shows the development effort going in waste of 2 years. All those cost, all those went in vain if after 2 years there's a major impact and you want to redesign everything. So architectural design provides a foundational structure for any technology. It also establishes the fundamental principles, patterns, and the components that make up the system. Without a solid architectural design, the technology may lack stability, reliability, and scalability. So this was for foundation. Then scalability, next point. So scalability is like serves as the basics of this backend, serves as the basis of scalability. It it like enables the technology to handle increased workloads, user demands, data volumes. You have to leave the room for improvement, right? The scalable architecture ensures that system can grow, expand, and without sacrificing the performance or stability. So it depends upon how you design the backend. The third is organization. So it organization helps in the various components and modules of technology. It also defines how the component interacts and communicate with each other. The organization ensures that the technology operates smoothly, efficiently, and with clear roles and responsibilities. For example, the backend decides that, for example, Oracle will do certain system, as in system DB Oracle has X store. There are so many systems, there are so many applications of Oracle as well. So we'll have to decide that these things is your responsibility. You have to store the data, you have to do the audit analysis part. Again, Snowflake is also DB, but they will store the credentials. That's an backend will need to decide. As an integration architect, I'll have to decide what data should go. So my data flow will depend upon me, how, where I will store, and what is. Even if I send the data to Oracle, they should not store the credentials. That should be decided by the backend. Again, extensibility, where like it allows the addition of new modules. Again, I told you that plug and play. For example, I may not have a payment gateway now from Amazon, but may tomorrow I can have one. Right? For example, if you see Flipkart in late for shorter period of time, they also included the video streaming platform in the Flipkart as well, right? So they must have thought it like a, like in the future they may expand them as a video streaming website as well, or a video streaming application as well. It didn't work out, so they pulled that feature off. But again, it is there. So anything which is pulled off is not completely deleted. It's just, as you say, that we comment out the code, so it's not publicly visible, and it will comment out the code in such a way that it is not executed, it's not hindering any performance, and it is faster as well. Do answer the polls as well. So the last point is flexibility. My backend should be very flexible. So I added that point in that picture itself. So it shows that the backend should be as flexible as it can. So let's not make it very much complex. If it is complex, we need to break it into simple architectural designs. So let's go. There are more backend responsibilities. System integration. It handles performance optimization. So for example, single send by a user on WhatsApp. We need to, for example, we need to send the data to the target user. Then we'll send double tick. If the user gets the data, has a online mobile connection, internet connection, active internet connection, we'll have to take that data and come back again to the initial user or the source user, and then make it a double tick, just to make them feel that, yeah, your message has been transferred to the target device. So again, these things, right? There is a SLA agreement as well with the client that we need to do it in 3 seconds of time. We cannot take more than 3 seconds. So even if you are taking 10 seconds, it's your backend fault. You'll have to enhance in such process that you have to compare the loops, you have to compare the hops. If how many hops you are doing before you are reaching, you have to think about encryption, you have to think about description so that your data is also secure. You also have to be fault tolerance. If some servers and some regions are down, you have to bypass that message through different servers, through different regions. Again, you have to also make your backend in such a way that it is reusable, that if something new comes up, you just need to plug and play. You need to reuse your module. You cannot just again work from the scratch from each module. Again, as I already give you the example of compliance, something which can be legal in India cannot be should like it's not necessary it would be legal in US as well. So again, why there's a question that why good design architecture is important for any application. So again, there are different patterns. So design patterns, application type, technology stack, and on the tip is architectural patterns. So it depends upon. So design patterns is a very bigger domain space. I think again, then there's the application types, so web application, mobile application, what are the desktop. These three will have different architectural backend. Mobile application will have different backend. It can happen that mobile data is when you're using mobile Flipkart, that data is getting saved in different system. When you are using web-based application Flipkart, that data is getting uh, like saved in different system, and those systems are synced. For example, Azure DB and AWS DB both have different backend system, and those DBs are getting synced with different process. For example, a middleware like MuleSoft. So a technology stack, if you are using ASP.NET, Blazor, Windows Forms, Windows Presentation Foundation, many things like Python. all those stacks we have will have different architectural diagrams as well. And last, the tip is architectural patterns. So multi-layer, service-oriented, microservices, event-driven. So for example, a sync. Anything gets updated in AWS DB from mobile application should also be synced at the same time into Azure DB, which is getting used by web service application. So that if a user sees their past order from mobile, it is the same as when he sees from the web application from Flipkart. So all these things. And again, from part of UI, any application, user interface is presentation logic comes from the front end part, what you see. But again, application facade, workflows, components, entities comes from the business point of view. Again, data access, data utilities, service tools comes from the backend point of view. Again, these solution architect will decide everything. How? So there will be contracts between different solution architects. A front-end solution architect will have uh, a contract with back-end solution architect. Now they will decide the data access, they will decide the sync part, services part, all those things. Again, the answer to the question why good design architect is important for any application, because it hampers so many things. What is the importance of design architecture is performance, scalable, reliability, security, modifiability, usability, reusability. So all these comes only when you have good design architecture, which is a good backend. If you have, then only you can have all those things. Otherwise, you will lag behind. Your business will have. So these are some models. So again, what are the roles for application developers, application architects, solution architects, backend architects, front-end architects, like business architecture, application architecture, system architecture, data architecture, and the physical architecture and O&M architecture. These all things are the types of architectures we have. So let's last example. So complex architecture versus simple architecture. So any application will have, so for example, Flipkart will look like this. So it's it's a solution architect of an application, product application. But it's not necessary that middleware, for example, MuleSoft as a middleware integration should know everything. If integration is getting used here, they should know only architecture of this thing. They should know the source and target. And they should know their own architecture diagram, that how they're going to follow the flows. It should not be given to everything. So the architecture diagram should be, the complex architecture diagram should be broken into simple architecture diagram. So something like this should be broken into something like this to for business, for example, to make your client understand. So many processes can be happening between these two, but here also fault tolerance application. So any worm scans, like infection attempts happen in our remote server. So what will do, I'll understand how our firewall will interact, how our like host based sensor will react, and I'll make understand the business. But in the backend, it can be looking like this, but the business won't understand this. So again, the architecture is same, just the way of seeing is different. I just made it simple. I just made it precise from the terms of, from the viewpoint of business. Similar for example, the integration, I'll make it more simple in the sense, more simple in a sense, if this integration is happening between SDLL and SDL system, I'll try to make cover only those source and target part, and we'll see what are the SLA, what are the things which need to be sent, what are the data, and we should be good with that. We don't need to share everything. So a senior solution architect will make a complex design in a simple designs. So this is how you design a backend. When you think, so we covered that how to process thinking, design and product thinking stages. And then after, when you decided for example, I'll take it as an example. I started as a ama cart. So ama cart, we decided that how we'll process the design, how I'll make the design process thinking, how I'll make a product process thinking, or design product, and how we'll think about the scalability approaches, what will our approach will be. Now, when we are into the design as a tech architect, we'll see how the backend should be decided, what the factors which will be affecting backend, how to think in a visionary form, and then how to design a backend. After backend designing, how to design the design document, from the complex part first, and when the complex part is, we'll try to make it more simple. So like this, as a solution architect, I'll make an AMA cart application where I'll design the backend, I'll decide the different services, workflows, and then I'll say, for example, I'll have AWS as my server, will Salesforce as CRM, and I'll decide how the events and how the process data flow will happen. And again, I'll make it more simpler. So any questions, any answer, like anything which comes to your mind, just I think we are already late, but still we'll wait for a few minutes and we'll take some Q&A. So anyone? So these topics are actually needed much more time. So it's just we try to comprise everything in this 1.5 hour session, but this is a very big topic. We will try to come with new topics such like these, and we'll get in more detail. So due to the time constraint, we completed everything from the basically we took and hit every bricks, but we did not unroll every part of that brick. So each topic can have a session itself. So any question, any doubts, please feel free to ping me, or feel free to ping the chat. This session will always will also be available on YouTube channel, the Elewayte's YouTube channel. You can go and just go through it again. You can also comment. If I see the comment, I will try to reply to those comments. Even Elewayte Solutions can try to answer your doubts. Thank you everyone for this session and for your time. So there's a saying, business people don't just need to understand designer better, but they need to become designer. This is a saying from Roger Martin, and we should all think like this. So even if you take example of Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, these all people are visionary. So you have to think like that to make any startup work. So they started also as a startup, and now they are all big brands. So you have to just increase your design thinking part and the process also. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Robin, for this insightful session. It was really great to know why design thinking is so important, and you actually take us through all the aspect of design thinking, not just in tech, how it is important in other sectors as well. So thank you so much, Robin, for sparing your crucial time and sharing so much of information with us and the students. Subscribe now. Apart from that, we conduct every Sunday such kind of master classes with various experts like Mr. Senna. So to know more about it, please go and follow us on Instagram. All such informations are available there, and we keep updating. Moreover, followed by that, to book the slot, LinkedIn is the best place. We launch exclusive slots there. Apart from that, you can also connect with Mr. Sinha, Mr. Robin Sinha. I have mentioned the link on the chat. You can go and connect with him on LinkedIn to know more or explore more. Along with that, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. See you next Sunday with a new topic.